We are here on the Wild Sound Actors podcast, and I'm joined by Patricia Moser from the beautiful short film Anatomy of Grief. This one really stuck with me. It's a heart-wrenching short on the meditations on the stages of grief, how it hijacks our memory and leaves us to kind of unreliably put together the pieces. And this whole film, Patricia, kind of hinged on going through the journey of grief with you. And
Mhm.
you very much led us into that journey with some raw vulnerability and depth. So thanks for
Thank
that
you.
performance and thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a joy. So I did some reading up on your past career, your past lives,
Mhm.
shall we say. It blew me away that this has not been your main focus for all of these years. But I think our listeners would love to hear a little bit about what your journey's been up to this point.
Yeah, it's sort of a plot twist, right? And getting into acting. I've only been doing it, taking courses and things like that for about a year and a half because
Wow.
it's an industry that I knew nothing about. So I have to educate myself, and that started after a long career in corporate roles, executive roles across the world, including a stint in Copenhagen, where I was a diplomat, had diplomatic status for one of the UN agencies there.
Very cool.
So I think one of the things, and saying, well, I can't believe you've only been doing this for so long. I mean, basically, my I've always been able to incorporate the creative arts
Mm,
into anything I've done. And so, negotiating, which I'm a master negotiator, that is all about acting. You can be, oh, tell me everything, or being, that's not going to work. Okay. So you can have the entire range in between. And as well, there have been, like, I led for our UN agency a couple of created and led a couple of team building events where the first time I was, uh, dressed and acted like Meghan Markle just before she met Harry with a dark-haired wig and everything else like that. In fact, a lot of people didn't even know it was me at first. And then the next time it was I was an emoji. So yeah, I
wow.
have I've done things like that throughout my entire career. Years ago, with my cousin, wrote a nonfiction book as well. And writing like on blogs and things like that I've done for a long time. So it's kind of moving into this, although some people have thought it was a shocking thing. It wasn't that much of a stretch for me. It's
Mm.
something I would have wanted to do all my life, but this is the right time, my act three.
Oh, I love that. All transferable skills. So when parents get concerned that their kids want to go into the arts or are interested, I would say, don't worry, there are many transferable skills if they
Oh
don't
yeah.
in the next,
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know, Meryl Streep. There are options. Or then maybe it's later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can take on a role as you go into a job interview.
Yes, exactly. It's all storytelling and
Absolutely.
persuasion. You're persuading your audience to
Exactly.
feel what you want them to feel. So
Exactly.
all good
Yeah.
stuff. So in terms of your acting training, how did you start?
Well, I started actually doing all the courses in improv at
Mhm.
Second City.
Nice.
And I loved improv. It was like, you play for a few hours and you go home. But actually, what amazed me is how much structure there is actually in it.
Mm.
Uh, as you move forward. And then I took a couple of courses in stand up. I've done stand up in some of the open mics and actually at Second City and things like that.
Oh.
Because yeah, well, I I do have a very twisted view of the world, so that helps. And then there were a couple of acting schools that I took for over a year, sort of various roles and things like that. And so, yeah, that was because one of the things I needed was to kind of have some insight into the acting and how you do it and the whole industry because it is a different animal. And again, whereas in my other career, I won a Lifetime Achievement Award, which tells you you've been around it too long. I knew pretty much everything. But here I knew I was coming in as a naif and needed to learn a lot so that I could at least seemingly understand, but also, getting into your emotions and things like that with many different roles that I did in the acting classes certainly helped.
Yeah, they always say it's like going to actors need to go in class because it's like a gym where you're just
Yeah,
working those muscles. And it's a
yeah,
great networking opportunity to see other people who are
mhm,
doing it and how they do it. But
yeah,
that's great. I love that you liked improv. It's
yeah. Oh, I
that can
liked
either
improv.
be somebody's complete nightmare or it's yeah, a great escape.
Yeah, I've always wanted the spotlight, so this is just
Yeah,
an
I guess
opportunity.
in those kind of roles, yeah, you kind of have to be comfortable in it and
Yeah,
ready to take on whatever's being thrown at you. I'm sure there's been some meetings where things
yeah,
divert and you say, okay, yeah, we're going
yeah.
to it.
Oh, I tell you, I have stories.
Gotta write a book. Oh, that's
Yeah,
probably in the stand-up. That's
yeah.
material.
Well, I have stories about a lot of things, but in corporate, I certainly have instances, particularly when people are not behaving like even colleagues in the way you want them to, is
Yeah.
how to de-escalate the situation and how to kind of turn it around into your favor. So yes, very, very transferable skills.
Sometimes you got to whip a scene into shape for your scene partner if they're going through it,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So in terms of this project, how did Anatomy of Grief come into your life?
They had posted it. I believe it was on Casting Workbook.
Yeah.
So I basically did, applied for it, was requested for the self-tape, and shortly thereafter, they called me and said, "We love you. You're exactly what we need." And the self-tape was for the last scene.
Oh, okay.
So it was, yeah, so I was very happy and so, yeah, I mean, that's how I got it. And then about a month later, it was filmed.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
a turnaround. So in
yeah.
terms of this is a difficult piece to just dive into, right? So what were some of the maybe creative conversations being had to frame the work to spark the beginning of it?
Yeah, well, you know what? I, sort of went in and Anthony and we talked through the scenes and things like that. I will say I was very impressed with all the young people on the crew and everything else like that. Just amazing energy and commitment. But yeah, and then on set, I mean, Anthony and I had some pretty deep conversations just to get to know each other
Mm.
to a certain extent, and he wanted to kind of know what made me tick in some ways. So we had some long conversations, even as everything was being set up at the set.
Yeah, especially for a piece like this where it really requires comfort and authenticity,
Yeah.
that rawness. You do have to feel comfortable with the team that you're
Yes,
working with.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So that definitely came through. I don't know if there's a lot of shoots or you can tell that it's just not quite going there. And
Mm,
I wonder what happened on that set because
yeah,
that actor is usually very good, but it feels like there's something there. And sometimes it's
yeah.
just
Well,
interpersonal.
Anthony he was actually, I think he's going to do very, very well in his career. Having seen, different young people over the years, and he made the set, a place where people worked hard, but they also had fun. And I think, they were the other crew was very happy to follow his instructions. And sometimes that is it's a trait you have inherently. You can't learn that. You can make it better as time progresses. But I did say that to him at the time, that he had an ability to get everybody on board and working to his direction.
Yeah, that's the captain of the ship.
Yeah.
Then it's a very
Yeah.
delicate balance for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, looking at your role, your character has to go through this kind of unimaginable loss of a
Mhm.
child, but it's your job to make that imagined. So, how did you do that? What is your into this character? Or how did you bring that authenticity to the role?
Well, first of all, I have a son.
Yeah, that's a good key. That's a good
Yeah,
key.
yeah, he's older, but I told him at the beginning when they showed the pictures on the desk there, I told him he had a cameo because he was the baby in the pool.
Oh, that will get you. Yeah, having a prop on set, you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
I'm here.
yeah, yeah. But I think one of the things that, you have to, in a role like this, you have to suspend your reality as
Mhm.
Patricia Moser. Your reality, even though you're still your own person, your reality becomes that of the character of Cassandra in this case. Actually, fun fact, because I like to look up the names of any of the characters, and Cassandra was in sort of lore or something. She had foresight and she could predict things, but no one believed her. That was her punishment. So no one believed her. So to a certain extent, in this case, she could already imagine as her son sneaked out
Yeah.
that this was going to happen, sort of that foreboding. But, I just kept, and I had everybody only call me Cassandra on set.
Love that.
Yeah, because I wasn't Patricia on set.
Mhm.
So when throughout all of these things, each of the emotional, um, scenes, the ones in the bed, having the nightmare, all that kind of stuff. I mean, we would try it one way and then try it a different way, but I was living it.
Mhm.
I mean, I was living the horror of what it would be to lose your child. And and so with all of the slow movements, the reflections, all of that was, in I was in it. I was in it. The last scene, particularly, yeah, took me a few days to recover from that
I
one.
bet you
But
shake it off.
yeah, yeah. But so we came to that scene, and I really had to get myself into it. So I was constantly saying to myself, you know, your son is dead. Your son is dead. This is Alex may be the character, but it's my son. And I pictured that. I pictured what I would be like if my own son was dead. But um and then I had to stay in it. So as they changed the scene and the camera and everything, I always walked out, but I stayed in it. I was sobbing, just constantly repeating, my son is dead. and Anthony came out at one point and he said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Just go away." Because
Same here.
because this is, yeah, with this kind of an emotion, you can't just sort of swing in and swing out. You have to stay in it, and otherwise the consistency isn't there.
Yeah.
But what you see in that scene, and even when I think about it now, I mean, I choke up a bit.
Yeah.
What you see in that scene is, you know, Cassandra and the intense, like, total body response to now trying to move on, but it's her son, and she can't. Like she still has that in her.
Mhm.
And then of course the confusion of when Alex shows up and says mom, and it's like, throughout I was living Cassandra's hell, if you will.
Yeah. I think that very much read. That's not a role that you can bounce off, chit chat at the water cooler, and
Yeah.
then snap right back into it because
Yeah.
it has to go deep. And
Yes.
yeah, the river is definitely ran deep on this one. So,
Yeah. Sorry. And one of, like, because I was surprised at how much I was drained for a few days after, and one of someone I know said, "Your body doesn't know the trauma isn't real."
ah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Yeah. We think of when you probably told people, oh, I'm going to pursue acting, there's always this thought, well, it's just playing, right? We're just
Yeah.
playing, but it requires a sacrifice, and it is that physical, visceral
Yeah.
sacrifice for roles like this. And
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah, that's interesting how your body is storing that trauma.
Hmm.
Wow. Um, were there any other surprises during the filming process?
The the artistic corpse with the maggots on it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was a jump scare.
Yeah, I was kind of going, yeah, okay. I tend not to be a person who watches horror.
Well, I usually watch it like this, and I'm
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
vocal
yeah,
about
yeah,
my
me
responses.
too. I think, yeah, I just, you know what, for me, um, I guess there was trust
Mm,
between Anthony and the crew and me, and I think you can't do something like this without the trust. I was very comfortable, and for me, like being in the rest of my career, where I tend to have always been the person in control,
yeah,
it was very nice to hand over that.
I bet.
And some people might have difficulty with that, and it didn't matter that I was being directed, and the crew and everything, with people significantly younger than me that could be my children. Uh, but there was nothing there. It was comfortable. And I think that speaks a lot to the Anthony and the entire crew.
Yeah.
It was just comfortable. They made a point of making me comfortable. I
Mm.
think sometimes when I started, like, with cleaning things up, they said, "No, that's what we design people or set design people are here for." I went,
People
"Oh,
for that. Yeah.
yeah."
Their whole job. I know. I'm always wanting to, oh, but I can just do it. I can just do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, hand off.
Exactly.
Uh,
Exactly.
that's really nice that you felt like you could release that control because there's obviously that trust in
Yeah,
they're gonna get the
absolutely.
job done. That's good.
Yeah, yeah.
What was your reaction when you finally did see the film?
Well, I can always say, usually I put makeup on to look better, not worse. Uh, yeah. Um, I mean, there were obviously in the editing, there are some scenes that, had to be cut.
Yeah.
So, I went, oh, where's that one?
A lot of
But
that one.
yeah, yeah, I like that one. But I think how it all came together because basically on the I think it was four days or 4.5 days of shooting, you just you just see it scene by scene and it's not necessarily sequential.
Yeah.
I was in pretty much all of the scenes except for one. But then just seeing, how this Jenga puzzle came together and actually, was, a very good movie from my perspective.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's always so nice when you're like, oh, it's good.
Yeah.
Great. That was worth my time. That was
Yeah.
worth the trauma that I put my body through. Great. That's
Yeah, when they do the screening and they come to the end and you're going, are they going to applaud? I hope they applaud.
we care. We care.
Yeah.
Um, Now, what kind of responses have you gotten from it?
That they go, oh, I didn't know you could act. Yeah, it's no, it's actually very, very positive responses. From people I know who, kind of see me day to day and then see me as an actor in this film. So yeah, my son liked it too. He said that was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like my personal go-to first for feedback. But no, everybody thought it was really good. So that makes me proud and makes me proud of Anthony and the entire crew.
Yeah. And no, I bet your son is going to make sure he drives extra carefully from now on. I don't want
Well,
to be
he's
my mom like that.
Yeah, well, he's a little bit older and he's in Britain now, driving on the wrong side of the road. He's doing his PhD over there.
Choice. So
So,
yeah, this was
so
very easy for you to tap into then.
yeah, 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 yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I think again, it's about, everybody can say to someone if they've lost a child, oh, I feel your pain.
Mhm.
Um, but when you have a child, that's one of your biggest fears,
Yeah.
right? That something like this will happen. Um, so I can truly say I feel the pain
Hmm.
because, like I said, I did, even for a short moment. But I can tell you, I remember all the lines from it because it really it made um, an impact on me. And it's still, like I said, I know the scene, and so when you talk about it, it's for me, it's like not something and compartmentalize because I'm usually a compartmentalizer, but that's something when I talk about it, it comes all back up.
Mm. Yeah. Something about emotions and memories that are very sneaky, hard to
Yeah,
compartmentalize.
and one's, as a parent, always one's fear.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I know I do think this is a really important film. There was recently an art exhibit I saw about grief, and it shows it actually does change your inner wirings.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
brain it changes fundamentally for a time. And it's yeah, I think it's films like this that give permission to people to explore it, prepare for it, and hopefully be more empathetic to others when they're going through it.
Yeah, yeah. And then of course at the end it's she still has the raw emotions, but understands that there is a need to move on.
Yeah.
And I think it was it was a very well written scene.
Yeah.
And so with that, with the door closing,
Yeah.
um, it was almost that compartmentalization. I need to move on. I can't get drawn back in with the specter, literally, of Alex. Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Well, I'm sure we'll be chatting about some future projects you'll be in soon. Um, but I really appreciated chatting about this one today and getting to know you a little bit better.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm excited to see where your journey takes you. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's going to be some really lovely projects in your future after people
Yeah.
see this one. So thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you. And absolutely, let's stay in touch.
Yeah, thanks.